going on?
What's up, Jared? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's excited to chat with you again. It has been a while since we caught up, so I'm really excited. And this is on a new show that's more dental focused. So I'm like, we need to have you on. I'd love to kick things off, actually, if you don't mind, for those that maybe haven't heard of Panacea, to
Sure.
like tell them about it. What's kind of your initial pitch to someone in the space?
Yeah. So thanks for having me. It's been a long time. I'm a practicing doctor. Panacea is a mission-driven company that's founded for doctors by doctors to provide financial services, and mostly it's banking. And so where we help a lot of dentists is all the way from their even dental school. We'll help them with a personal loan that doesn't require a cosigner. There's no payments for a year in dental school, up until even letting them open a practice or buy a practice. We do all of that for dentists. We're actually partners with the American Student Dental Association and also partners with the American Dental Association for their practice finance group. So we are very, very heavily involved in supporting dentists across the country. And I think the main thing we do is it's common sense. We try not to have 18 layers of bureaucracy touch every single decision we ever make for a dentist. It's very relationship driven, and I think the dentists really respond well to that. We strongly believe in independent practices, doctor-owned practices, and I'm obviously very biased as a doctor. So anything we can do to support that, we're all about.
And how have things evolved since? I mean, I spoke with you when things were just getting started, right? It was
Yeah.
you and it was Ned, right? Ned.
That's
Yep.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Uh, so like it's been honestly a few years, and it's been great watching you grow. Um, how has it been, like, kind of from your initial vision for this company to where it's at today?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about because back then we maybe had a handful of customers. It was really an idea that was getting off the ground. And now, we have thousands of customers across every single state and have financed around $600 million to doctors in their practices. And again, back to dental with the American Dental Association, as does several other dental associations, see what we do in a way that's really doctor centric and have wanted us on board to support their members. So it's nice to, know that this idea we had, we lived through as doctors of, hey, we need something better. We deserve something better. There's proof in the pudding of what we've been able to do and how many doctors have been able to help.
And how do you see things continuing to evolve? What kind of key learnings have you taken away over the last couple of years that kind of maybe either shifted direction in any way, or maybe just kind of doubled up on your initial vision of saying, okay, we were right from the start?
Yeah, I think doubled up, right? For a couple of reasons. One is we've seen the growth. I think the other thing is a lot of financial institutions want to deal with us as doctors. They want us as customers, but they don't really have products that actually fit anything for us that's different than what you could get off the shelf anywhere else. The other thing that I've noticed is many financial institutions want to go after doctors, but they can't focus and hold that attention. So maybe it's a year. Maybe they hire a group and it's 6 months and they're like trying to dabble in this doctor market. But then because they're such a large group and leadership changes, they go back to something else. And what is nice for us is we only bank physicians, dentists, and vets. That's it. And that's the only groups we're going to work with. And so for us, because we're able to focus on this specific group, we're not going to focus on other things. It gives us a strategic advantage where other people come and go throughout the space. And you see this all the time with practice finance. One bank will really go really aggressive, and then you look a year later, all their people left went to a different bank, and they're trying to spin it up now. And rates change, macro environments change, and all of a sudden their focus shifts. Ours doesn't. It's consistent. Our focus is doctors and doctors only. And I think on the dental side, we'll see a lot of growth on ways we help practices outside of lending and banking. So we obviously do checking and savings for businesses and practices and all that stuff too. But one of the big things we've seen is doctors need other things for their practices. Think about accounting services, think about practice consultations, think about all these wraparound services that dentists need that we're connecting people with all the time, and how do we improve that? How do we help doctors even more because of the scale and attention we have of the community already? And I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
And then how do you continue to gauge what else can be offered, right? Are you having a lot of conversations still with your members? Obviously, there's parts of you're obviously fulfilling a part that can be stressful to not have taken care of, right? For a lot of these dental practices, um, especially if you're working for these um, doctor-owned facility
Mm-hmm.
organizations, right? How important is it to also offer them these additional services? And then I guess you kind of mentioned that a little bit, but how do you find out, man, we need to be offering them this? This is what we keep hearing.
Yeah, I mean, we're really involved in the community. So we're talking all over the country to groups, both on campus and off campus, at conventions, to groups. I mean, look, we will help. We've helped a single dental practice owner buy a little piece of equipment to a 200 location DSO that's owned by doctors, expand and buy real estate. So our ability to cater to the group is vast. And we're seeing a lot of demand too, as an example, on doctors who want to add second, third, fourth, fifth locations. I mean, we did this talk at the American Dental Association last week on what do you need to know when you're wanting to add your third, fourth, fifth practice. And most banks don't really know how to handle that and aren't ready to support you from because of their credit policies and other policies. Whereas we're really custom fit to help you scale, especially if you've already had successful practices. And I say that as an example because we've learned of those needs just from dealing with the market day in and day out, boots on the ground, in dental offices, at dental groups, at conventions, hearing from our partners at ADA and ASDA and other groups that this is a growing need. So we're able to build a offering for it and help the doctor.
What's really next? Like, I guess not just with you. What are you seeing right now as a major pain point in the dental space outside of what you currently offer?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is still this consolidation. It's slowed down maybe in some ways. And when I talk to the dentists and I talk to the physicians, the dentists always say we're about a decade behind. The dentists say we're about a decade behind the physicians. And you all know probably in the last 10, 20 years, a lot of consolidation for practices and hospital owned groups in the medical space. And that's happened in dentistry and will probably still happen to a degree. But with that is also opportunity because what you see is a lot of dentists don't want to participate in that, or they are okay working for a DSO as an employed dentist, but so let me just back up. A lot of these DSO or large groups that are employing dentists have a hard time retaining them. And that's because the dentist doesn't have any ownership. They have no skin in the game. And so what they found is, hey, let's give these dentists ownership, a piece of this big organization they're contributing to. And where Panacea, as an example, again, we've heard the demand and we've built something for it, was to allow these dentists to actually buy in. So let's say, Dr. Taylor, you work for a DSO and like, hey, we're going to sell you 1% just to make sure you're locked in and you are really care about this organization. It's going to be $100,000. Well, out of dental school, you don't have $100,000 just laying around. But at Panacea, we can offer a conventional loan to Dr. Taylor to buy that piece of ownership so that you actually have a wealth building avenue that's accessible to you that then you're working towards, not just in your salaried employed job, but also as a greater organizational value you're bringing. So that's, I think, where you've seen a lot of direction, consolidation, but there's still these little pockets where dentists, their voices need to be heard in the leadership and they need to have skin in the game to really lead these organizations in the right way instead of just a big PE back group and that's an Excel spreadsheet. And healthcare is more than that.
Having dental be one of the areas you focus on is just it's super smart when um, you look at what AI has been able to do for so many industries, right? And it'll have its impact on dental, but you're not going to automate the dental office, right? To the point where people don't have to go in and get their teeth cleaned and cavities, whatever that may be, right? Uh, Now we can automate obviously various parts of it. We've had Overjet on in the past that's kind of helping with with a lot in terms of AI within the dental office. We've had some other folks on as well. It'll be interesting to see how things play out, but Um, really love what you're doing. Really love the service that you're providing these folks because, as you said, they do not have. I mean, maybe some do, right? Maybe some have that cash on hand while they're in school or coming out of school, but the vast majority do not. Um, what did you think that you would be in the position that you're at today when you first started, or what are your thoughts, kind of looking back on your younger self starting this?
Well, I think that's a tough question. I knew it would work. Look, I knew the need was there, I lived it. And so there was no question about the need. It was just a matter of, can we execute? Can we actually do a good job? And I think we've done that. And we're continuing to scale to just help more and more doctors. But there was never a doubt in my mind there was a need. And there was never a doubt in my mind that the other financial services groups didn't care that much about catering to us. And that's been proven out, actually, the more I know.
When you first started this is a question I like to ask people. What's something that you can laugh about now, but you wanted to cry about when it happened?
Oh my gosh. Um,
Only one thing. That's what people usually say. There's so many. In my case,
I think the first website, I laugh with Ned, their physician co-founder, about it all the time. How many hours it took with our designer and getting this thing right. And then we learned probably within 3 weeks that it didn't work from a UX perspective and scrapped the whole thing. That was very frustrating, and some tears probably, or frustrations, but now we can laugh at it, but it was not funny whatsoever at the time. Lots of stories like that, I'm sure.
yeah, it's just crazy too how much faster you can move after like grinding for a while in the space, right?
Yes.
Like everything,
Yes.
something that took you probably forever when you first started the company is like you can blink and it's done now. Like
Totally.
it's honestly crazy. Um, really great. What events are kind of on your radar for like the upcoming year?
Yeah, well, what's upcoming, at least for me, we just had our big company meeting here at the home office, and then had a big event at ADA SmileCon, and then really on my calendar, we do, our bankers are all over the place, but for me personally, it's at the American Student Dental National Leadership Convention here in a couple of weeks in Chicago. Get to talk to a lot of young leaders in the dental school space and future leaders of dentistry, and love hearing their ideas. You talk about how do we learn? Well, we listen, and we talk to these folks on the ground. So that's what's on my immediate radar.
I love it. What's for someone that wants to get maybe started with their own practice? What's a piece of advice you'd give them so they maybe don't make you can save them from making one major mistake? What would that be?
Is be comfortable asking for help. We're very smart people as doctors. We know a lot of things, but we don't know everything. And the biggest mistake I see is that doctors don't surround themselves with a team. They try to go out on their own. They mess up with all sorts of stuff legally, financially, strategically, in the market, marketing, real estate. I mean, there's so many pitfalls. If you don't have experts in your corner, it's going to take a lot of work to undo. And so don't be afraid to ask questions and surround yourself with people who know more than you do. We're very smart, but we don't know everything.
It's so hard, yeah. And alternatively, like when someone is asking something, even if it's something that like any of us easily know the answer for, I think it's on the other end, right? For those that are taking those requests, um, being more open and kind
Absolutely.
where you can, right? Because like, um, I don't think there's such thing as a stupid question. Like, there's questions that you have to ask early on because you just simply don't know. And the fact that you're doing a certain thing to begin with, you're already ahead. You're already ahead by
Yeah.
doing it.
I think what's hard too for doctors is so many people won't say they can help us, and they say they have experience. My advice is always ask for references and talk to those people, because everyone's going to say, "Oh yeah, we help doctors," and you're like, "Okay, can you give me 5 names?" And then you don't hear back from them.
Yep,
Don't be afraid to ask for their actual doctor references. Say that all the time.
I love it. I want to thank you so much for joining us here today. Let's definitely stay in touch and
Absolutely.
look forward to future conversations.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jared.